Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. There's so many things to focus on if you're trying to get better at improvisation and sound really good. Do you work on licks? Do you work on transcribing? Do you work on harmony? Do you work on your rhythms? Do you work on phrasing? Yes, all of that stuff is great, but sometimes it's better to just be more efficient and work on one thing for a long time. Go deep on one small item, one element of music, so you can really incorporate it into your playing. The problem with most people when they practice is they try to practice too many different things at once, 5 minutes here, 10 minutes here, and they do it over and over and over again, but because they never go deep with one subject, it never really shows up in their playing. Because of that, in this video, I'm going to teach you about one note. That's right, only one note over specifically a dominant chord over specifically a 2-5-1. What is the one chord tone over the dominant chord that sounds so good when you play it? Well, it's the sharp 11. Sure, you can play any 12 notes over any chord, but certain notes are going to have different effects and sound different, give different colors over certain chords, and I think the sharp 11 over a dominant 7th chord, specifically in the context of a 2-5-1, is an incredibly colorful note, and it's going to sound amazing whenever you feature that when you play through a 2-5-1. You've actually heard this exact sound before over the last 4 bars of the bridge of The Girl from Ipanema. In that song specifically, those two dominant chords are not only dominant 7 with the sharp 11, but they add the flat 9 as well, and it sounds like this. The sharp 11 combined with that flat 9 is a really nice sound, and I love playing it, but I'm not going to be teaching it in this video. This one is only about the one note, the sharp 11. There's a worksheet that goes along with this video, which I'm going to jump into in a minute. And in that worksheet, I describe what a long and short 2-5-1 is, and I also read out 4 sample lines using the sharp 11 sound over the long 2-5-1 and 4 sample lines using the sharp 11 sound over the short 2-5-1. Also, I read out all 4 of those lines for long and short, all in 12 keys, so you can have it in every single key so you can practice it on your own. The worksheet is completely free, and the only thing you need to do to get it is go to the top of the description down below, or just go to davepollack.com/sharp11. That's the word sharp, S-H-A-R-P, and then the number 11, 1, 1. Now I want to dive inside that worksheet and show you around. Now, as you see, we're in the sharp 11 worksheet, and I start right at the top by putting everything in C major. A lot of people ask me, how do I play some of those low notes? They're out of the key for me on the instrument. This is just concert C major. This isn't specifically on saxophone or specifically on any instrument. This is just a concert key. Don't worry, I read out every line in all 12 keys on the next few pages, but for this first page, I'm just going to talk about C major. First, I talk about what a long 2-5-1 is. What I call a long 2-5-1 is you have a full measure of the 2 chord, a full measure of the 5 chord, and then you resolve to the 1 chord. A short 2-5-1, on the other hand, is just half a measure on the 2 chord, half a measure on the 5 chord, and then a full measure on the 1 chord. In this video, I'm only focused on the sharp 11 over the dominant chord, which means I'm going to be putting a sharp 11 over the G7. If you add the sharp 11 to that G7, you get this chord here at the end, G7, sharp 11. Like I said earlier with The Girl from Ipanema specifically, you can add flat 9 to it, you can add a whole bunch of stuff to it, but for this video, I'm really just focusing on that one note, and for your practicing, I only want you to focus on this one note as well. You end up getting into the paralysis by analysis thing if you start saying, well, I'm going to add this note, then I add this, and I add this. Now you just have too many options. I want you to focus on one thing, be more specific, be more efficient, go deeper with this one sound, and I know it'll show up in your playing a lot quicker than if you just practiced a million different things at a time. All right, below that, I wrote out 4 sample lines using the long 2-5-1 and featuring the sharp 11. The only real parameter I gave myself was all the notes were going to be diatonic to the key, so in this case C major, except for that sharp 11 note. So you can see I hit it here, have it here, the end of 4 there, and then I kind of delayed it a bit and put it here. There's no rhyme or reason for each of these lines. It's not like I start with a easier one, get harder. I don't have specific rhythms I'm playing. I just kind of wrote out a couple lines that sort of work. But the idea is I'm trying to show you different versions of the sharp 11. You can put it on the downbeat. You can make it syncopated. You can hold it out. You can displace it a little bit. You can play it a little early, later, whatever you want. And the idea is that when you practice these, you then come up with your own ideas and you can write out or just figure out your own lines. Here's what each of these lines sound like. right, I hope you can hear that sharp 11 sound and how it's a really cool sound over these dominant chords. I'm not making a big fuss about it and really going over the top in your face with that note. It's a subtle thing, but it does add a lot of color to that dominant chord. Below the long 2-5-1s, we now have the short 2-5-1s. And like I said, the short 2-5-1 is just going to be 2 beats, then the resolution chord. So in this one, once again, I played the sharp 11, and that's the only altered note out of all of them. Yes, you can add other alterations, but for the purpose of you practicing along with this video, with this worksheet, only alter the sharp 11. Here's what these 4 short 2-5-1s sound like. All right, the short 2-5-1 is definitely a little quicker. It's a little more compact, but you can still hear that specific sound over the dominant chord, and I really, really love it. Just like I said earlier in the video, if you go to the next page and then the next bunch of pages, I wrote out every one of these lines in all 12 keys. So there's the first one for long 2-5s, the second one for long 2-5s, all the way through. I wrote out all of them for you, all 12 keys, so you can have them, you could practice them, you could put them into your own playing, or you can alter them, create your own lines based off of them. Whatever you want, you have this as a resource to keep forever, completely free, and I hope you enjoy this worksheet. What was the point of this video? Well, the point of this video lesson is to show you one of my favorite sounds over a dominant chord. It's to show you that if you play this one single note over this one chord, it'll sound really, really cool. Sure, a lot of people may have taught you to play this note here, that note there, but in this specific video, just like I've been saying the entire time, I want to give you many different versions of it. I want you to only think about one thing, and I want you to really go deep with this sharp 11 sound, because the more you practice it, the more you work on it in multiple keys, the more you learn my lines, you write your own lines, you'll be able to put it into your actual playing. When I say put it into your actual playing, I mean when you're actually out there improvising and you're focused on the non-note musical elements and you're not restricting yourself to one thing. You're not practicing, you're actually performing. You'll be able to insert this sound into your playing because you've dug deep with it in your practicing. I found that this is the best way to practice, to really go deep with a single concept before moving on. Does this mean you have to spend the next 6 months on this one note? No, but maybe not just spend 5 minutes of a 2-hour practice session on it. Maybe spend an entire 2-hour practice session on it, or half of your practice session. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to just be one small little part where you practice this for 5 minutes and then move on. That's not really going to help too much. Go deep with this because I know it's going to be great for your playing. Be sure to grab this completely free worksheet by clicking the link at the top of the description down below, or going directly to davepollack.com/sharp11. That's the word sharp and the number 11. If there are some other concepts you want to see me teach here in these lessons, please let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.